Henry Pryor is going to be with us throughout this programme. He is an expert commentator on the housing market. He used to work for Savills. He now runs his own property finding business, and he is the famous man for predicting that the market had peaked in 2007. Of course, he was right.
Well, I'm joined now by Henry Pryor, who's a buying agent for the rich and famous.
Well, we've got the Nationwide Building Society telling us last month prices went up, and we've got the Halifax telling us last month they went down. So what are we to make of it all, and are there really green shoots on the horizon? We can talk to our favourite property expert. I'm going to annoy a lot of other people there, Henry Pryor. Henry, you're not so sure.
We're joined now by property expert Henry Pryor. So what's happening then in the housing market? Why are we in the position that we've gone back 30 years in terms of our ability as a nation to own a home?
Homes have got more expensive and we haven't built enough. And it's as simple and boring and frustrating as that.
How much is my house going to be worth? Or how much is the house I would like to own going to cost in 2013? Well, the Halifax has got its latest survey out, the first of many this year, and it says the confidence shows nearly 4 in 10 predict house prices to rise, while fewer than 2 in 10 expect a decline in prices. Henry Pryor is our independent housing expert. Good morning to you, Henry.
Morning, Simon.
Henry Pryor, an independent property expert, has some advice on how to invest in properties safely and what pitfalls to look out for.
Well, joining me now to discuss the bigger picture, a buying agent for private clients, a man who's previously worked for the likes of Savills, Strutt and Parker. Here's Henry Pryor. Henry, a very good morning to you. What on earth is going on in London?
Coming up, the man with the best hair in radio, Mr. Henry Pryor. Brilliant. The Young Rascals and Groove In. I have tweeted a picture of Henry's hair, but I don't want to dwell, okay? Because since I'm hitting 50, I'm getting really jealous of that. It's amazing. It's time for our regular look at the world of property.
It would be terribly easy to label and in some ways to vilify those who've come from overseas who've been attracted for the same reasons that domestic buyers have been for so long.
Professional investors don't like buying assets when they're overpriced.
You're looking to try and buy a house, yeah. 350,000, where do you start?
Henry Pryor is a professional property finder who's in Sheffield to help Allen and Rather find a good investment. So what does he think about buying now?
Would you acknowledge that house prices are now overinflated?
Now it's time for the business news, and Simon is here. Property we're talking about again.
Yes, going to look in the tea leaves in the property market with an expert view from Henry Pryor.
Let's get the expert advice of independent property consultant and tweeter, Henry Pryor. Henry, welcome.
Eddie, good evening.
One of our favourite property experts, Henry Pryor, is with us in the studio.
OK, let's get more on all of this, because Henry Pryor is a housing expert and joins us. Henry, always good to see you.
Well, with us here in Westminster, Henry Pryor. He's a former estate agent who now runs a bespoke buying service.
Property expert Henry Pryor joins us now. This is from Dave, the estate agent. He says, house prices, your man was right. Oh, we love it when our man's right. That's good. Henry Pryor was right. Sales of family homes, 800 grand up, are totally dead. And the dead is in capital letters. It looks horrible written down like that. Ooh.
So, are we paying too much for our mortgages? Let's chat to one of our regular housing experts, Henry Pryor.
Henry Pryor is an independent housing expert who started his career at Savills in Cambridge in the 80s.
With me now, the estate agent, Henry Pryor. I say estate agent, Henry, your job and your clients employ you to help them buy homes rather than sell them.
Is this a sign that government initiatives like funding for lending, which earmarks cheap money for the banks to pass on to mortgage owners as well as businesses, are having an impact? Henry Pryor is an independent housing market expert. Good morning, Henry. What do you make of this? Funding for lending, first of all, is it working?
So, all morning I'll be talking to our housing expert, Henry Pryor, who'll answer your questions.
That means that those adverts are fake. And that
is illegal.
But I'd like to check first before we use that word. And here is the man to set us straight. Henry Pryor, an industry expert and estate agent with 30 years' experience. He's disposed of more of the capital's hot property than the Great Fire of London. What does he make of the fake adverts?
Fantastic guest you have on in the morning.
Henry, always good to see you. Thank you very much indeed.